Imagine, if you will, a time of stark contrasts and frequent wars, a time where sunlight bathed the ancient land, the medieval era. Picture a landscape where grand castles towered over tiny hovels, where the wealthy few lived in luxury while the majority toiled in hardship. This was an age where might was right, where knights on horseback clashed in brutal battles, and where peace was often a fleeting dream. In this turbulent epoch, there lived a young man named Marian. He was born into a humble farming family, tilling the earth under the same medieval sunlight that gilded the castles and manors. But Marian was no ordinary farmer. His heart nurtured a dream as vast as the sky, a dream of an ideal village, a place where everyone lived in harmony, a place free of the stark contrasts and ceaseless conflicts that plagued his world. Marian's utopia was not born out of a whimsical fantasy, but out of his keen observations of the world around him. He saw the ravages of war, the gulf between the rich and the poor, the injustices that were an everyday reality. These sights stirred a deep unrest within him, fueling his resolve to bring about change. As he grew, so did his dream. He began to learn, to gather all the knowledge he could, not just about farming and hunting, which were the lifeblood of his village, but also about architecture, governance, and even military tactics. He realized that to build his utopia, he needed to understand the world in all its complexity. But Marian knew that dreams were not enough. He understood that he alone could not transform society, and so he began to share his vision. He spoke of equality, of justice, of a world where everyone had a fair share. His words echoed through the village, inspiring others to join him in creating a better world. In this era of contrasts and conflicts, a young man named Marian dared to dream of an ideal village, a utopia. Born into an ordinary farming family, Marian was anything but ordinary. Even as a young boy, Marian's thoughts were far from conventional. He grew up in a world divided by wealth and scarred by war, a world where the harsh realities of life were as unyielding as the medieval land itself. Yet rather than accepting these conditions, Marian dared to dream of a different reality. As he matured, he became a witness to the ravages of war and the stark economic disparities that plagued his community. This exposure to the harsh realities of life didn't dampen his spirit. Instead, it fueled a fire within him, a fire that was a burning desire to change the world around him, to alleviate the sufferings of humanity. This was the seed from which his dream of an ideal village, Utopia, took root. To bring his dream to life, Marian knew he needed more than just a vision. He needed skills, knowledge, and experience. So he set out to learn everything he could, not just about farming and hunting, the staples of his upbringing, but also about architecture, governance, and military tactics. His thirst for knowledge was insatiable, and he understood that to create an ideal society, he needed to be a jack of all trades. His relentless pursuit of knowledge and his dedication to his dream did not go unnoticed. The villagers who had watched this young man from their community grow and evolve began to admire and respect him. His passion was contagious, and slowly he started making a name for himself. But Marian knew that his dream was bigger than him. He knew that to transform the society, he could not do it alone. And so he began to share his vision with his fellow villagers, inspiring them with his ideals of equality and justice. His words resonated with the people, and they began to understand that only through collective effort could they overcome their challenges. His hard work and diligence earned him the respect of the villagers, gradually making a name for himself in the community. And thus, Marian's journey toward creating Utopia began. Marian knew that individual efforts alone couldn't transform society, so he began to share his dream of Utopia. This wasn't just a dream, but a vision he was determined to bring to life. His undying resolve sparked a fire in the hearts of the villagers, kindling their own dreams of a brighter future. Marian started propagating ideals that were far ahead of his time. He spoke of equality, of justice, of a world where every man, woman, and child could live without fear or want. His words weren't just empty rhetoric, they were seeds of hope, sown deep within the hearts of the villagers. He urged everyone to join him in this noble endeavor, to lend their hands in the creation of a better world. His charisma and conviction inspired the villagers. They began to realize that the change they so desperately yearned for was within their grasp, that only through collective effort could they surmount their current challenges. And so, they rallied behind Marian, their faith in his vision unshakable. With the villagers' support, Marian initiated a series of groundbreaking reforms. They dismantled the old feudal system, replacing it with a more egalitarian social structure. This was no small feat, for it required challenging long-standing traditions and convincing the villagers to embrace change. But Marian's persuasive words and unwavering determination made it possible. He introduced advanced agricultural techniques and effective management methods which significantly improved the village's productivity. The wealth gap that had once divided the villagers began to narrow as resources were shared more equitably. The villagers' living standards rose, and a sense of unity and camaraderie began to pervade the village. Every change, every improvement was a step closer to the realization of Marian's dream. The villagers worked tirelessly, their hearts ablaze with the hope of a brighter future. And as they toiled under the sun and the stars, an ideal village began to take shape. People began to share land and resources more equally, and their living standards gradually rose. Utopia was born. This was more than just a village. It was a testament to the indomitable human spirit, a beacon of hope in a world of darkness. And at its heart stood Marian, the architect of this utopia, the embodiment of dreams realized. But the path to utopia was not without obstacles. As word of utopia spread, it drew the jealousy of other rulers. This idyllic society, born out of a dream, was now facing a grave threat. The rulers, threatened by the progress and prosperity of utopia, began plotting against it. Marian, always a step ahead, had anticipated this. He knew that the road to an ideal society would not be easy. He had seen how the powerful often saw equality and justice as a threat to their authority. But he was not deterred. He believed in the power of unity and the strength of the villagers. With the impending war, Marian had a new challenge to face. He knew that the villagers, though strong in spirit, were not warriors. But he also knew that they had something more powerful than weapons: the love for their land and their people. And so he began rallying the villagers, not as an army, but as protectors of their beloved utopia. In the face of adversity, the villagers stood tall and united. They trained hard, learning military tactics and strategies. They worked together, pooling their skills and resources. And above all, they held on to their belief in utopia, their shared dream of a better world. When the war came, it was fierce and brutal. The enemy was powerful, armed with weapons and soldiers. But utopia was not weak. It had the strength of unity, the power of belief, and the courage of its people. The battles were intense, the stakes high, but every time the enemy advanced, utopia pushed back, never yielding, never backing down. It was a war not just of weapons, but of ideals. And in this war, utopia emerged victorious. The enemy was defeated, their plots foiled. But more than that, utopia had proven something monumental. It had shown that an ideal society was not just a dream, but a reality that could be achieved with unity, determination, and belief. Through a series of intense battles, Marian and the villagers emerged victorious, solidifying their unity and determination. Utopia had defended its dream, standing tall and proud in the face of adversity. It had become a beacon of hope and an exemplar of an ideal society. Utopia transformed from a dream into a beacon of peace, justice, and prosperity. A dream that once only resided in Marian's heart took form and substance, growing beyond the confines of his imagination. This wasn't merely a village anymore. It had become an ideal, a concept that echoed far and wide, touching hearts and inspiring minds. Marian, the ordinary farmer's son, had become the orchestrator of this extraordinary transformation. His wisdom, dedication, and unwavering belief in the power of unity had turned utopia into a shining example of what a society could be when driven by the principles of equality and justice. Marian's name echoed through the ages, his legacy immortalized in the annals of time, his status elevated to that of a legendary hero. Utopia's transformation was so profound that it began attracting people from far and wide. They came seeking refuge, a better life, a chance to be part of a society that valued them, that offered them a fair shot at prosperity. The village grew, but it did so without losing its essence. Each new member brought fresh perspectives, different skills, and unique experiences, contributing to the continuous evolution of utopia. The wealth gap narrowed, living standards rose, and a sense of satisfaction settled over the people. They were content, not because they were free of challenges, but because they knew they had the power to overcome them. They knew they were part of a community that would stand by them, a society that valued their contribution and respected their rights. Marian's dream, Utopia, had become a reality, but more than that, it had become a symbol of hope, an exemplar of what could be achieved when people came together, united by a common vision. It was a testament to the power of belief, the strength of unity, and the transformative potential of effort. Utopia stood as a timeless exemplar, proving the possibility of an ideal society and demonstrating that with belief and effort, changing the world was not an unattainable goal. It was the embodiment of Marian's dream, a testament to his journey and a beacon of hope for all those who dared to dream of a better world.